Excuse me. Hello, hello. Just waiting to see who gonna show up. Let's see. Do my lighting over here. Some crazy things going on with my. Oh, that's better. Much better. Yes. Okay. I'm gonna work on getting the background, but today we're going to talk about why I regret moving to Atlanta. Now, I am the Mama B Experience. Welcome to my channel. Hey, Hunty Bees. Let's get into it. We're not going to prolong it or anything like this because this is being recorded. So when you go back and look at this, it should be all, ready to go. You don't have to wait because I'm waiting on people to come in. So last week, I did a live about the roaches in Atlanta, about how they just overtake you in your home, whether you have roaches or not. I'm not going to spend too much time on this, but it's very daunting when you are dealing with being regretful of moving to my dog. I have to let her in. She has to wait. When you're regretful for moving to a city and then you have to deal with all of this crap. Okay. Once again, this is the Mama B Experience. Forgive me for having to jump in there, remind you who I am and what's going on. Content creator, author, producer, also known as Mama B Productions. And I'm here to tell you about why I regret moving to Atlanta. First off is the roaches. Second, it is the healthcare system. Third is the infrastructure. Okay? Now, I talked about the roaches in my first live that I did last week. You can go and follow that, and I will put a link to that live down in the comments. Second is the healthcare. Now, I'm going to do a video about the healthcare in Atlanta. It is so crazy here. I'm originally from California. Left California, moved to Texas for 3 years. Lived in Texas and then came to Atlanta. I've been here for 8 months now, and I am so regretful. Okay, I'm gonna get into that. And this is, I'm seeing, is going to lead to multiple stories to tell you why I'm even in Atlanta. So let's go back. I digress. The second reason is the healthcare. Healthcare is horrible here. You have to wait months for a specialist. Okay, let me go back. When I first got to Atlanta, I came here with my healthcare coverage from Texas. And then when I got here, instead of being able to transfer or just keep using it's all marketplace. It's all the same stuff. I had to get on Georgia's marketplace. So I chose Cigna. And it was at one of those pop-up sign up for healthcare here. I was new to the city. I had very little support. That's for another story. But anyway, I had very little support. I didn't know how to navigate my way through the healthcare system. I did my research and I felt that Cigna would be right. low to zero deductibles, because I qualify because of my income for zero deductibles or very little. So I end up getting injured and had to go now find a specialist for my knee, not orthopedic doctor for my knee. Long story short, that's another story that might end up being told. Long story short, I ended up with a very painful Baker's cyst. And when I say painful, I'm talking, it affects your mobility. You can't walk. It puts pain on your sciatic nerve, synovial fluid. That's the little juice that holds your knee. The cushion leaked out and ended up into a cyst in the back of my knee. Okay, so since I didn't have health care because I was waiting for that, period for it to take effect, I um, ended up at Mercy Care in Chambly, and they are the ones who diagnosed me with the Baker cyst. So everybody wants to just put a band-aid on everything, just put a band-aid on everything. So I go to Chambly, I get all the x-rays, I do all of that, and they ended up sending me to Grady. Well, the appointment for Grady was so far out that I decided, let me take matters into my own hands. So I went to telehealth from my insurance, from Cigna, and they suggested from their list of doctors that you can go to, they suggested that I go to Regenerative Orthopedics in Stockbridge, Georgia. Okay, I'm like, fine, I need to get this taken care of because I'm a producer, I'm an author. Like I said, I'm a gig worker. I was doing things, making it happen. Because if you don't have a hustle in Atlanta, there's no help here. Everybody has that dog eat dog, get it for yourself. You'll find very few people that'll help you, but they down and out too. So, they can only offer you I understand. So this is Atlanta is a pull yourself up by your bootstraps. And if you don't have no bootstraps, honey, you better find you some, because you gotta be a big girl here. You gotta have your big girl draws on here. Yes, you do. That's another story. Stay tuned for that, of why I came to Atlanta. But anyway, I digress. Back to what happened. So I gets to um, regenerative orthopedics because that's what Cigna suggested that I go to. So I make the appointment. I get there. Long story short, they did nothing. Um, they drained the fluid from my knee. They didn't do anything to the Baker cyst, and they gave me a steroid shot. No pain medication, nothing. Just told me to take naproxen over the counter, which does nothing. Motrin works better, but I'm assuming, you know, long-term Motrin will put excess on your liver and your kidneys and things like that. But I don't know if it's because of my insurance or what the case may be. They only want to offer me naproxen, charging me $11 and $5, where I could go to the dollar store or the Dollar Tree for $1.25 and get the same medication, just adjusted to the dose that they gave me. So the dollar store naproxen is what, 220 milligrams? We'll just take two. There you go. So it's stuff like that. And when I was in Texas, I didn't have to deal with stuff like that. The insurance was impeccable, hospitals top notch. Here, it's like, I don't know if it's the culture or is it me, but everybody just has this dry attitude when you go in to ask for help. If you need any type of assistance and they think that you need help, even if it's in their job, it's like you look down on them. So anyway, I'm gonna get to that part. Um, so maybe a week later, maybe 2 weeks later, the fluid came right back. The Baker cyst never went away. I always had the Baker cyst. And you tried to lay down with that? No. They talking about put a pillow in between your legs? No. Rice, that acronym that they use to tell you the rest, ice, compression, elevate, none of that. Nope, none of that work. None of it. And then you end up self-medicating. I'm just being real, people. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. Don't judge me. The Mary Jane, the CBD, the turmeric, the curcumin, and that's going to be a whole nother story, whole nother show. I'm a content creator. There's no one set of things I choose to talk about. Now, on Sundays, I'm going to drop my poetry. I'm going to get back to my story. Hold on. But on Wednesdays, it's just let's talk about it. Things that go on in my life and things that I experience, I'm just going to share. And maybe my testimony will help somebody else. One thing I won't be doing is begging for money. It's drop that cash app, drop that. I can't stand them shows, and that's another show I'm gonna talk about. But anyway, I digress. So 2 weeks later, I'm right back at the same issue. Mind you, I work with my legs. I ain't hit the splits in months, okay? Because I'm an entertainer. I'm a spoken word entertainer, okay? Check out my page and you'll see a little bit of all what I do. The Mama B Experience, also known as Mama B Productions. So I'm like irritated now. It's depressing. I'm depressed. I'm depressed. All I want to do is sleep now because your mobility is messed up. You can't walk. The healthcare system in Atlanta is horrible, and that's why I regret moving to Atlanta. It sucks. So I get frustrated and more frustrated and more frustrated. So people are telling me to sign up for Medicaid. I think that's Georgia State, Peach State, State Peach. I'm investigating. I don't know. To supplement my insurance. Well, what I ended up doing was canceling the insurance. So since the insurance was so high, because I didn't tell you that when I went to regenerative orthopedics, it was outside of my network and they stuck me with a $500 deductible, which I didn't sign up for that. I had no idea. I was like, why would you suggest me to go somewhere outside of my network that's going to cost me all this money? So I ended up making an appointment with Grady and telling Grady, I don't have insurance, I don't have the ability to pay, and you guys have to help me. So that ended up working because all they were going to do, and I digress, my bad. Grady did the same thing that Regenerative wanted to do. They drained the fluid, they gave me a steroid shot, and then they want to suggest physical therapy. That's what they do. That's across the board, normal, standard. And then they tell you, oh, it's going to come back. And what they do is they do that a couple times, and then if it keeps coming back, they'll go in and surgically remove it. And that's what I'm pretty much having to wait to do. So if you see this live recording and you know about osteoarthritis, especially of the knees, if you know about the horrible, horrible healthcare in Atlanta and why I'm so regretful to move here, please drop in the comments any suggestions, any salves, any pills. I've tried it all, and all of it's looking towards I'm going to have surgery. This is another reason I regret moving to Atlanta. You better have a car if you move here. Oh, yes. Now, It wasn't bad. I did have to take public transportation. I do not like taking Uber. I feel safer on public transportations because all those horror stories that I hear about Uber, I have no time. Uber is more expensive. And honey, for $4, for count 'em, 1, 2, 3, 4, in an hour, I could get to the doctor, drops me off right in front of the doctor. The bus stop is right in front of my house, and I get to learn the city since I'm not from here. Now it sucks. You got to catch the bus in your own hometown because you know it and ain't nothing to see. But it's, if you're from not from the city and you want to learn the city, oh baby, let me tell you, hunty bees. I know Atlanta, Miss Marta. Oh yes, I call her Miss Marta, honey. Oh yes, that's Miss Marta. I make sure, yes, Miss Marta, honey. So anyway, end up going to Grady. Mind you, this incident happened in July of last year. Like I said, I don't know the system. I was dealing with some other stuff. Oh, we're not going to even talk about the homeless situation that I had to. And when I ended up living in the trap bando, child, wait till y'all hear those stories. All the while I'm injured, trying to hold down my job as a sous chef. On top of it, my day job is a sous chef. My night job is a content creator, author, poet, spoken word artist. You know, let me, got my children's book. My mommy has lupus. It's all on my page, so I don't have to go into it. Just sharing. In my first book, Honey Drippings, a poetic memoir, I didn't just spit a whole bunch of poetry. I gave you a life history of my little life growing up in Richmond, California, but it's with commentary. So that's where the tea is. That's where the juice is, the commentary. So anyway, back to the story. I digress. So I'm going to share that story of what Grady did. They took out, oh, I want to say 4 to 6 cc's of fluid. And I'm just going to give you a guesstimation with my hand. The needle was, it was one of those thick sewing machine looking needles. And it was with the aspirator, the round cylinder, clear thing. And they took out about, I want to say that much fluid. And I don't feel anything yet because they numbed it, and I'm still sore from when they jabbed the sewing machine size needle in my leg. So I don't feel it right now. Now I did take a nap. That's why I am live streaming at 9 instead of 6 because I didn't get home till 4:30, and I had to lay it down because that was, yeah, it takes a lot out of you to be out there in the street on public transportation watching your back and you're injured. Um, the naproxen gave me some naproxen, but I wasn't getting ready to pay $5 for naproxen where I have that at home. So I just have to um, rely on my street pharmacist. I'm not in California. I have a card in California where I can go to any cannabis club and get my needs, my tincture, my CBD, my gummy bears, my spray on ointments, my creams for my pain. I have osteoarthritis all over my body. It started from when um, I was in a high speed chase in California with the authorities and I crashed my car. That's another story. And I was I crashed into the concrete barrier, knocked myself out. The jaws of life had to get me out of the car. And from that incident, I um, came out with a compressed C4, C7 in my neck from the extreme whiplash from hitting the concrete barrier so hard and the seat belt snatching me back so hard. So if you can imagine the force, I hit the concrete. I was going around a curve. It was raining. My car hydroplaned. Okay. When I hit the concrete barrier, I lunged forward and was like this. And then, the seatbelt snatched me back. So I'm like that. And it threw my head back and forth with so much force. And I hit my head on the side window. Um, the dashboard of the car came down and hit my knees. Glass was in my knees, and I still have a piece of glass in that right knee. No one has ever said this or put it together, but I did. Because the exact spot where that little, you can feel a little piece of glass still under my skin, I don't know where it's at, it's gone, but I ended up with bone spurs on the medial side of my knee, on the inside. That's the inside of my knee. I have a massage therapy background too, so I know medical terms. I ended up with bone spurs on that side where the Baker cyst is. So those bone spurs are what's causing the pain on my nerves and the inflammation. Now, keeping it compressed really helps. A compression stop, I really need Tommy Copper, but those things are expensive. So I just use homeopathic methods. Like I said, I use a lot of spices, a lot of herbs. Um, I try to go from the inside and heal. I know I need some shark cartilage. I need some chlorophyll. I need some burdock. I know these are things I know I need, but these are things that are expensive. And I'm in Atlanta, and I'm not near my home herbalist and where I know to go. So I'm believing that I'm just going to have to bite the bullet and take that hit and go to California and go see my herbalist. And I don't want to go order things online because I need the herbalist to see me, to look at my pain, to look at the veins in my legs, to look at me, to look at my nails. And then when they see you, all that online stuff, that just want to just send you here, write your prescription, that what I call that assembly line doctors. I can't. I'm old fashioned. I'm old school. I'm 56 years old. Okay, I need a doctor to see me, and these conventional doctors are not about healing you. They're about rubber stamping and giving you an instruction or a pill. If you want to heal yourself, healing is homeopathic. You got to do that at home. You got to go back to Big Mama ways. We have to go back to making gardens and eating out of the garden. So since I've been doing my regimen, I've been, I've healed myself. Now, I was using a cream. It's expensive, but it's worth it. It's called Essential Truth. I wish I had a jar to show you right now. Essential-truth.com. Essential, not underscore, essential-truth.com. The word essential, that dash symbol, the word truth.com. Just go look at it. This brother is from the islands. And when I tell you he has this all purpose life cream, but I mean, look, let me tell you something. I didn't have edges. I mean, edges. I was putting it on my forehead for my headaches, grew my edges back. Men, if you got alopecia in your beard, it'll grow the alopecia in your beard. I put it in my hair. My hair is, I had a perm in 20 years. It brings the natural, make the ends of your hair all curly and pretty. I braided my hair to, sister lock it. I haven't went in and did the crochet yet, but I believe I'm gonna go ahead and let it dread. because I can't. I'm tired of combing here. I'm tired. I'm just gonna go on Sister Locky. So you got to go in with the crochet and hook it. But anyway, I digress. The healthcare in Atlanta is horrible unless you got top notch healthcare. And even then, and even then, it's still horrible. I'm just in a financial bind right now. I can't afford all of that. I took so many hits coming to Atlanta. I'm still playing catch up. And I'm in film school. Yes, I'm in film school. Haven't dropped the ball on anything. The thing that hurting me the most is I'm not able to work. Now that they got this Becker cyst off, I still can't run and go back to work because now I got to do physical therapy. The same thing that the people who charged me $500 at Regenerative, Grady did the same thing for free. The only thing is they didn't charge me $11 for my medicine like Cigna did. They charged me $5, but I wasn't getting ready to pay $5 for 500 milligram naproxen when I have naproxen at home. Hello, Aleve? That makes no sense to me. So I decided to keep doing it my way. Now I am going to go to their physical therapy. It's easy to get to Grady. It's in a safe area. It's right in the heart of Georgia State, the colleges where they watch them kids down there. So I feel I live in a very good area. I live in a nice area of Decatur. And I know that's not Atlanta, people, but that's not logistics. It's all the same area. 15 minutes and I'm in Atlanta. Across the street and I'm in Atlanta. It's still the Georgia area, the Atlanta area. Even Buckhead. I don't care where you go. I've been to Buckhead. I've partied in the condos. It's all old and raggedy and everybody got roaches. Everybody has roaches. I don't care where you live. And then even if you go to the really nice homes, this is the forest. Now what I can say is I do like Midtown. I do like the Georgia State area. I do like East Lake. I performed in East Lake before. I had a show in summer before last in East Lake. So there are certain parts that I'm like, oh, this is not so foresty. This is not so woodsy. The third reason I regret moving to Atlanta is the infrastructure. Who designed your freeways? Who designed the bus systems? Now in California, it's like this here. Your main street, you got a one shot. Straight boom. Okay? Here, and that's another thing I like about Texas. Here too, in the southern states, I find, because I've traveled all over this United States. Southern states, they take you all out the way. You got to catch 2-3 buses just to get down the street. I'm like, why is it a 19-minute car ride, but a 2-hour bus trip? They got you come on infrastructure, you got to do better. And then the people here, I can't even do that in a wild regret. That has to be part 2. That has to be next week. Why I regret moving to Atlanta. Some of the people here are still stuck in that house Negro field, Negro mentality. The dryness of the common courtesy is just mind-boggling here. If you act in a happy way, or if you smile or show any type of you kind, they like sharks, vultures. You got to be big, girl. And I find myself being more mean here. And I'm in culture shock because I'm from, at least in Texas, I can say They do if they fake it. Everybody there's, hey, how you doing? How's it going? Here, everybody's so hungry and down with the grind. I see why y'all be upset. All y'all freeways, all the freeways are just like, what are y'all doing? What is going on here? So I thank you for hanging out with me. Hopefully, these conversations will go a little bit longer, but I enjoy using this system as a support, as a way to get these things off my chest. And my lives be coming back up in my own feed, so forgive me if I get a little cheesy and comment on my own stuff. So, Sundays, the Mama B experience. Look for the poems for hard times. It's hard out here on the pimp. The gas and the rent money spent. I'm also a poet. I'm also a spoken word artist. And poetry is another way that I use to heal from some of this trauma that I'm experiencing in life. Now, I don't know if it's because of the total eclipse coming. I don't know if it's spiritual warfare. I don't know if it's a combination of all. But since I've come to Atlanta, this has been the hardest 8 months in my life. The hardest. Come back next Wednesday, 6 or so, and I'm going to talk about the other reasons why I regret moving to Atlanta. The people, the people, the housing, and what else? I'll come up with something. I see y'all.